Hello friends and welcome to Math with Tony. Today we're going to solve 10 GRE algebra questions, and these are from recent GRE exam, and they're going to be focused on comparing point A and point B, which is always the first 5 to 9 questions you get on a typical GRE exam, and these are from past questions. So for the very first one, before we start, I just want to drop this out there, that if you have any number A over B and this is equals to 0, what this simply means is that A is equals to 0. Okay, we don't need to bother about what B is, just know that A is 0 for expressions like this. So let's apply that to the expression given to us. This simply means that x into x minus 2, this has to be 0. And what this means is that either x is equals to 0 or x minus 2 is equals to 0. And if x minus 2 is equals to 0, that means that x is equals to 2. So we've gotten two potential solutions, two solutions to this expression, that x is either 0 or x is 2. So let's look at the quantity A. Quantity A is just x. So x is either 0 or 2. And 0 is greater than negative 2 and 2 is greater than negative 2. So clearly the solution to this problem is A, which means that quantity A is greater than quantity B. And this is how you solve this problem. You don't have to bother about trying to expand the denominator in this particular problem. Yes, so for question 2, we are given that x is greater than 0 and we are asked to compare quantity A and quantity B. So what do? Let me write it out. So quantity A is 1 over x and quantity B is x plus 1 over x squared. We don't know what is here, okay, whether it is greater than, equal to, or less than. So what do? We can multiply both sides by x squared. So if I multiply here by x squared and multiply here by x squared, what do we have? What will be left here is just going to be x, because x will cancel one of the x's here, and we'll have our box in here, and what will be left here will be x plus 1, and we'll cancel this. Okay, so now x and x plus 1, which one is greater? We are told that x is greater than 0. So if x is greater than 0, that means x is positive, and when you add 1 to a positive number, it's going to be more. So clearly x plus 1 is greater than x. So the relationship between these two is that quantity B is greater. So the answer to this problem is B. Yeah, so for question 3, we are asked to compare quantity A and B, the magnitude of m plus 25 and 25 minus m. So how exactly do we attack this? So we're just going to plug in values. We have to think about it and put in very precise values. So let's say if m is greater than 25. If m is greater than 25, that simply means that this quantity, that means that 25 minus m is going to be a negative number, right? Because if let's say m is 30, this expression would be negative 5. If m is 26, this will be negative 1. So if m is greater than 25, that simply means that quantity B will be a negative number, or quantity A is going to be a positive number because it's magnitude. All right, so if m is 30, this will be 30 plus 25, which is 55. So quantity A for this particular condition is going to be greater. So we've established that here A is greater than B. Let's pick a different number. M is equals to 0. If m is 0, what does that mean? That means that quantity A is going to be 0 plus 25, and quantity B will be 25 minus 0, and this is simply 25, and this is 25. That means they are equal. So we've already gotten a contradiction here. So we've shown that for some conditions of m, quantity A and B are equal, and for other conditions A is greater than B. So that simply means that we cannot definitely determine the relationship between these two. So our answer here is D. That's the correct answer. For question 4, we are given that x is greater than 0 and quantity A is x% of 100x and quantity B is x squared. So let's solve. What is x% of 100x? So the solution is 100x. The x% of 100x is simply 100x times x over 100. That's how to solve it. And this is simply what? The 100 will divide 100, it's gone. We have x times x, which is x squared. So this point A is simply x squared, and as we can see, it is the same as point B. So our solution here is C. And these are ways you can easily just look at the problem in less than 30 seconds. You figure out the answer and you buy time to solve more difficult problem in data analysis when you're writing your GRE. So for question 5, we're given this expression and we're asked to compare point A and point B. So let me write out this expression. This is 4x minus 2y into 6x plus 3y, and this is equals to 18. So what can I do here? You have 4x and 2y. We can factor out 2, and what we'll have left will be 2x minus y into, we have 6x and 3y. We can factor out 3. We have 3 here. What will be left here will be 2x plus y, and this is simply 18. Okay, so 2 times 3 will give us 6, and we'll have 2x minus y and 2x plus y equals to 18. We can divide both sides by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6, and what we'll have left will be 2x minus y into 2x plus y, and this is simply, this divided by 18 will give us 3, so this is simply 3. So instead of trying to expand what we have here, we could just remember one of our tools. These are some of the tools you will need to know before you write the GRE, which is, if you have a squared minus b squared, this is simply a minus b, a plus b. You can open this up to verify this. So whenever I see an expression like this, I already know what it's going to be. This is simply what? 2x, which is your a here, squared, then minus y squared, and this is equals to 3. Okay, and we can expand 2x. 2x squared is simply 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. So this is simply 4x squared minus y squared, and this is equals to 3. All right, so we have 4x squared minus y squared, and this gave us 3, and clearly 3 is less than 6. So the solution here is B. Right, so B is the correct. For question 6, we are given an xy plane and with a line that crosses coordinates 0, 0 and 6, 6, right? And what this tells us is that the slope for this, which is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, which is simply 6 minus 0 over 6 minus 0, which is 1. What this simply means is that the equation for that line is y equals to x. And there are some principles and there are some laws that go with this particular kind of line graph, which is one, that any point towards the right side of this line, let me put it like this, towards the right hand side of this line, the x value, it's always greater than the y value. So towards the right hand side we have this, okay, and then towards the left hand side of this line, the y value is greater than the x value. Okay, this is what guides an equation that is y equals to x. So looking at the graph we have that w, z is towards the right. So w, z is towards the right. That means that w is the x coordinate and z is the y coordinate. So clearly that simply means that w is greater than z. And then towards the left hand side we have a, b, and a is the x value, b is the y value, and from here we know that the y value is always greater than the x value. So that means that b is greater than a. So we have that b is greater than a. Okay, so if we add this together, we have that w plus b and then z plus a. Definitely w plus b must be greater than z plus a, because w is greater than z and b is greater than a. So let's look at this. So we have w plus b and a plus z, which means that this is definitely greater. And once you know this principle already, you don't have to solve a lot in this question. You just look at it and be like, oh, definitely this is greater. But I'm just putting all this out so that you can understand. So for question 7, we are given that x is greater than 0 and x is not equals to 1. So how do we do this? We immediately look at point A and point B, and we can jump in by rewriting them. So we have 2x to the power of -4 times 3 to the power of x squared, and to the right we have 24x over 4x squared. So this is 2 times 3, this is 6, x to the power of -4, then plus 2, this is indices. We're trying to find the relationship between the two of them, and here we can divide both sides. We can divide through by 4. We have 6x over x squared. Okay, so to the left we have, this will be 6x to the power of -2, and to the right this is 6 over x, because this will cancel one of these, right? So we can divide both sides by 6. We can say this 1 over 6 times this times 1 over 6, and this cancels this. We have x to the power of -2, and this will cancel this 1 over x, and we can decide to multiply both sides by x. So if we times this by x, multiply this by x, what we'll have left here will be x to the power of -1. This is, and over here we just have 1. And what is x to the power of -1? That is simply 1 over x. So this is 1 over x being compared to 1. So but what are the conditions here? We know that x cannot be 1, that is established, and x is greater than 0. Good. So x is greater than 0 and x cannot be 1. So let's just pick random values. So if x is, this is 0.5, okay, what would this be? This will be 1 over 0.5 compared to 1. And what is this? This is simply 1 over 0.5 is 2 and 1, which means quantity A is greater, okay? That is for x equals to 0.5. Let's say x is equals to 2, and let's see what happens. So this will be 1 over 2 comparing this to 1, and which we know clearly that this is less. So for here we have that B is greater than A, and here A is greater than B. So clearly that shows that we cannot definitely determine the actual relationship between these two with the information provided. So the answer to this is simply D. For this question, we are given that x is an integer and it is less than 27 but greater than 23. That simply means that the possible values of x is going to be 24, 25 and 26. All right, so point A is the median of the 5 integers 23, 24, 26, 27 and x, and point B. So let me write this out this way. So the quantities in A is, we have 23, we have 24, we have 26 and we have 27. We don't know where to fix x, and this is in ascending order. We don't know where to fix x, but so let's take the different values of x. If x is 24, that means in this expression 24 can either be here or here, so we'll put 24 here. That means the median when x is 24 is still going to be 24. So that means one of the medians, if x is 24, let's put here the median. Okay, if x is 24, the median will be 24, right? So let's try it for when x is 25, the next value of x. If x is now 25, I'm working on this right now, that means it's going to fall here, and the median for this is still going to be 25. So if x is 25, the median will be 25, which is good. So let's take it off again. And the final value of x, which is 26, when x is 26, that means 26 can still be here. So when x is 26, the median is still 26. So this will be, when x is 26, the median is 26. So the question here is the median of the 5 integers in x, and quantity B is 25. So clearly, at some point, if If x is 24, that means quantity b is greater. If x is 25, that means quantity b is the same as the median. And if x is 26, quantity b is less than the median. So clearly, we cannot definitely determine the relationship between these two quantities with the information given. So the answer to this is simply D. Question 9, we are given that x is less than 0 and quantity A is x to the power of 5 and quantity B is x to the power of 4. One thing we must know is that here x is a negative number. Okay? And if you raise a negative number to an even exponent, it's going to be a positive number. Let me write that down. Okay, so we know that a negative number raised to an even exponent will yield a positive number. But if it is raised to an odd exponent, it will be a negative number. So clearly, quantity b is raised to an even number, so this is positive. And quantity b is raised to an odd number, this is negative. And positive is greater than negative. So clearly quantity b is greater. So the answer will be B. Yes, so for question 10, we are given that xy is equals to 8 and x equals to y minus 2. Quantity A is y, quantity B is 0. So to solve this, we're going to substitute this into this. So here we have that xy is equals to 8, but x is equals to y minus 2. So let's replace that here. This will be y minus 2 into y is equals to 8. And when we remove the bracket, this will be y squared minus 2y. This is equals to 8. We can rearrange this and this will be y squared minus 2y minus 8 equals to 0. If we factor this out, we will find out that if you factor this out, that means that we can replace negative 2y with negative 4y plus 2y. How did we get this? If you multiply this and this, you get negative 8y squared. And then what you do next is you find factors of this that when you add them up, it's going to give you this. Let me show you. So what are the factors of negative 8y squared? This could be negative 1y times 8y. And that one could be negative 2y times 4y. And I think that, and the next one could be negative 4y times 2y, and then 8y times negative 8y times y. Okay, so let's add all these numbers up. So negative y plus 8y, this will give us 7y. If we add this one up, here we are adding them up, this will give us 2y, this will give us negative 2y, and this will give us, I'm adding them up, please. This will give us negative 7y. But then if we look at the expression we have, we are looking for negative 2y, and this is negative 2y. That means we are going to pick negative 4y and positive 2y to replace negative 2y in our expression. I hope you understand what I'm doing. So if I write this y squared minus 2y minus 8, this is just factorization. That means we cannot replace this with negative 4y plus 2y minus 8 equals to 0, just as we did here. And if we do this, we can factor out y here. This will be y minus 4, and here we can factor out 2 into y minus 4, and this is equals to 0. And by factorization, this is y minus 4 into y plus 2, and this is equals to 0. And what this means is that y minus 4 is equals to 0, or y plus 2 is equals to 0. And if this is the case, that means that y is simply 4, and over here we have that y is negative 2. So we have y to be 4 negative 2. Let's take it up here. So if y is 4, that means quantity A is greater. If y is negative 2, that means quantity B is greater. So for this problem, we cannot determine the exact relation. So the answer to this question is D. If you found this helpful in your GRE journey, please hit the subscribe button, like and share, and I'll be on the video tomorrow on this so we can practice together, and within 2 weeks I can get you ready to write your GRE and hit a score above 320. Thank you very much.